Anybody else? Anybody on Zoom? No.
And we just received anything.
Awesome. If anybody wants to make a comment on a specific agenda item, we can do it when we discuss those agenda items. We're moving on to consent items. Can I have a motion to approve the consent items? Any discussion?
Director Lee?
Aye.
Director Rod? Aye. Director Jeffrey? Aye. Director Stanton? Aye. Director Brown? Thank you.
Moving to a couple presentations here. We have starting out with the first presentation from Site Logic.
Good evening.
Sure.
Don't mind, I'm gonna stay in there so my back's not to everyone.
Absolutely.
Good evening, Director, General Manager, Community of Fallbrook. My name is Josh Stever, Local Government Relations Executive for Site Logic. I believe we also have on the phone Zoom. Yep, Jonathan Brown, Senior Director of Development, my right-hand man. As you're all aware, back in May, a presentation from our firm was presented. We're a general contractor licensed nationally, but in the state, we have about 150 personnel that focus on local government projects when it comes to infrastructures, renewables, electrification, kind of all the big buzzwords that are going on, not only in our state, but across the nation. A great relationship, knowing Rachel through CSDA, we're platinum sponsors of the organization and been able to collaborate. Just on the other side of the hill, you guys have Canyon Lake, so really my goal is to take what's best interests of all local governments in Southern California. Again, the presentation was presented back in May. We've also followed up with Facilities Committee with that presentation and Q&A as well. We'll focus on both sites, this campus and district office campus. We're looking at an array of projects from shaded parking carports with solar on top, battery energy storage here to be more resilient for when the community needs it, some electric vehicle charging station as there's a Calgary code, so public agencies need to start addressing that. And also a district office, almost same thing, shaded structure with solar, battery energy storage, and electric vehicle. Biggest thing about this project is the asphalt. We're looking on taking on majority of the asphalt project into our scope because by building the solar structure out there in the parking lot, there's some incentives from the federal, state, and local levels that you also can get back on the parking lot. So if you're already going to put 100% out, let's get you a little back. As of right now, these incentives are ongoing through the different initiatives that come and go. One of the biggest ones that I highlighted to your general manager, and maybe why I see there's an aggressive rush to get this in, is the Inflation Reduction Act. The Biden administration passed that in November last year. It's funding $27 billion to local governments across the country. Legislators have been doing good on hammering of funds coming to California and mostly Southern California. And how do we help use those funds through the pathway of electrification, infrastructure, things like that. So we've taken a conservative approach, looked at what seed monies were available. And right now the Biden administration is looking to fund up to about almost 40% of the entire project costs of both campuses that have to do with renewables, vehicle electrification, and even that's ADA compliancy through the parking lots as well with the electric vehicle. So I'm here to ask any questions. Again, I believe in your board packet was the presentation back in May. I think tonight we're looking to get into a partner agreement so we can take a more comprehensive dive in and start really finalizing that scope, that cash flow, and what incentives are available for the district to take them up. So that kind of concludes my opening statement, and we're happy to ask any questions. Thank you.
Okay. I'll open it up to public comment before the board asks their questions. Do we have any comments from the public regarding the presentation and anything so far? Seeing none, open up to the board. Yep, Terry.
Where are you folks located? Great question. So headquarters is out of Minneapolis, but here in California, we have an office up by the Capitol in Sacramento, and then here locally in Ontario.
So you go together. Project, assuming you have somebody here going pretty close by. The same project.
Yes, sir. So myself, all the way to our leadership, engineers, technicians, all of even our partners are California based. I'm part of the Southern California team, so a lot of my army that will be collaborating with staff is going to be based everywhere from Los Angeles down to Ontario.
So you're not essentially different aspects of like paving part of the plans for the next one.
Yeah, so we are gonna handle everything turnkey. We are multi-licensed in the state, so a lot of the solutions is done internally with us. Even our buying power. There are a few, just like the asphalt itself. We have our partners that we're working constantly with, especially doing these big arrays from different cities and school districts. So we're bringing everyone together. One thing I wanted to highlight about this program that I apologize I didn't is this program actually pays for itself. It's a different approach of just looking at tackling each project individually. We're coming in, looking at everything holistically, taking consideration of what your utility costs are. I think we all agree those are skyrocketing every year. So my team are the brains that come in and understand, hey, with new emerging technologies out there and state mandates that are eventually going to force public agencies to move in these directions, we can change this out, collect this seed money, and eventually now the program is paying for itself through the utility savings and the renewable generation over the term of the technology.
One last question. I didn't read through the whole of this agreement. I didn't read part of it. So there's a fee in there, you're paying $20,000. Is that some total?
Great question. So I've been asking my legal to rename that word development fee to something else. I call it breakage fee. So we're going to still come in at risk. I'm going to bring the team in and we're going to develop a project that has the economic criteria that has an appetite for your general manager to bring back to the board and says, if we move forward, this is going to be great for the next 20, 25, 30 plus years. If we can't meet that, we walk away. But if we're going to come in and bring all our engineers and develop a great program, and all it's doing is just going to go sit on a bookcase, we just want to be reimbursed for our engineering costs. So that $28,000 is really a breakage fee of what we value of what it's going to cost these next couple of months of our engineers to come in and find. So yes, nothing up front, we're not billing, there's nothing binding to it, unless again, the district says, okay, hey, yeah, we're it's pays for itself, there's, all this free money, but we don't want to do anything. We'd like to be reimbursed for engineering costs. If you do decide to move forward, that number is evaporated, and again, that's we're getting to an implementation agreement, which will then have that bill cost. We're here to design build.
And the 2850 is for the design,
Those are what we factored the
Right.
engineering costs would be.
and that's paired with, if, like you said, if site lot cannot meet the economic criteria, which gives us the 4060, right? That's part of getting it reimbursed by the feds and the state.
So the economic criteria would be in reference to California Government Code 4217.10-4217.18. It's the procurement method of a government agency that can work with an organization like myself on an energy and water contract, as long as that contract at minimal IBQ cash or budget cash neutrality to the term of the agreement. So I can't come in and say, hey, let's do all this stuff, and you select me to do it, and we're going to go build it. Also, I can't state here and say the federal government is willing to give you 40%, but by the time we build, maybe it's dropped down to 30. But what we have done is looked at what current utility costs are. What the proposal would be by making a few adjustments, like putting renewable solar, having a battery storage that plays a dual role, maybe a the demand should play when you're hitting peak, so then that resiliency plays for the times needed, you need power. Fire, sheriffs can utilize this site maybe, as a evacuation site. But our goal is to be compliant with the government code, bring a program to the table, find out, that's why you see to be determined on incentives or grants, because I don't want to get you hyped now. They come and they go, but we believe we have the system built and online by December 2024. When the administration is still current, then the treasury will still make the one-time payment, and our goal is to get you up to that maximum threshold.
And then after we see the good work on the design, then we would enter into an implementation plan, and that fee would be delineated in that plan.
If the board decide to move forward, then yeah, it's completed,
Part
move
two.
forward with, yes, so, these next stages, we're gonna spend a few months diving a little deeper into the sites, bringing out structural engineers, everything, making sure everything's good, asphalt, we'll come back in a couple of months, staff set up a round table, here's the program, let them decide if there's any revisions, and we'll probably come back to the facilities committee, and let them take the recommendations to the board if it's a program that the benefit. Yes, sir.
What's the stability of the costs? How are they going over the last, let's say, year or so? Historically, we're seeing everything going up. Are you building that in as a still A, or do you have that kind of built in projected cost by the 24 time frame? So that we're building all these break evens and ROIs based on a set amount of cost. How confident are you in that cost versus having it creep up in a year and now we're at a different break even period? Everything changes.
Great question, great concern. So everything that we model out as escalation built in from the utility side, if there's any debt services, we'll model all of that with P&Is, and if there's any buy downs or different ongoing incentives that the district can take advantage of a couple years from. We're factoring, we come back in October for a public hearing, and we're still a couple months from shovels in the ground. We're factoring in those prices are going to go up 90, 180 days past that. So my team, when we bring a number to the table of what that final is, that's it. We're not here to bring change orders. The only reason we ever see change orders is that the agency has extra value that we can bring to the table that they would like to see. It's a strategic contract to get projects done.
So the raw material costs is roughly stabilized, or are they still on an upward?
They're roughly where they've been. Yeah, we had a good one, just like eggs there for a while, but we've adapted. We've also, state of California changed the net metering. And then because of the three large utilities across the state, we're kind of getting ponied out of their revenue streams. It hurt agencies, local governments, but schools are getting hurt the most because of the multi-sites. But we're factoring in now NEM3 on this site. We'll be able to get grandfathered into NEM2, but still I wouldn't be here if that economic criteria wasn't where it should be at right now. And that government code was enacted in the 80s, so it's nothing new. It's been around.
Next step for us, we need to take forward to.
So tonight, later this evening, there's a letter of agreement that we went over with staff. Deliverables in there is again focusing on those two sites, those projects, help assisting with finding additional grants and incentives out there. And again, making sure the program is in the economic criteria. 3 months, we'll come back. That's when we'll bring a bigger agreement to the table for the actual implementation.
Is that agreement in the board packet? Yeah. Okay. I don't know if you guys want to take a look. Is it just the same two-page agreement? Yeah, I think it's pretty basic. I mean, if you guys want to take a look, and then if we can ask any questions, I think that the board is definitely anxious to kind of move forward. Obviously, like we have a lot of stuff going on here, and we want to get the parking lot done, and kind of move forward with a lot of that stuff. My biggest concern would be the cost estimate being extremely high. We just kind of went through something where we hired somebody to kind of design out the facility. And we spent a good chunk of change on the initial design element. And then the cost estimates came back to be $10 million. And it was something that we weren't looking to spend that now. And it caused a lot of consternation with the community hearing the amount and just kind of being like, what the heck? My biggest concern would be to keep the costs low. And obviously, getting it done sooner is cheaper than waiting, and getting as many of the incentives as possible is something that we're definitely looking to get. Do you guys have any questions on the actual agreement? My only question was basically what Jennifer was asking about the economic criteria and what basically defined that. But does anybody have a motion to approve that agreement? Okay. Yeah, no, that's fine. If we could, we'll just, we'll pause that, we'll do the next presentation, and I'll give everybody a little bit more time to go over everything.
And I'd be more than happy to hang out and send that item comes back up. If there's any questions that do arise.
That would be great. I appreciate you coming out.
Yeah.
Answering our questions.
You're in my backyard, so it's
Awesome.
You might want to get some food. This is gonna take a minute while we do the next.
I don't get hungry when I see Thanksgiving.
Thanks, John.
Thank you, everyone.
Alrighty, well, obviously we have a lot of grant recipients here, so we'll go ahead and move to our help grant awards. Rachel?
So I believe the team already has their list and they're ready to go. So what we'd like to do is we'll call up certain groups to come and do the photo. We'll have the board stand with that group. We'll get your photo real quick. And then you are, of course, invited and welcome to sit and enjoy the rest of the meeting. Or whatever you're gonna do, right? So who do we have for good Rains? So Rains, did she have to go? Okay. Perfect. Perfect. So Stephanie will take a step up. So if we have the board, all stand and we'll do the photo with Stephanie. Then Jasmine, if you want to get them,
I wouldn't mind doing one for us too, so we can. Oh, yeah, okay.
we'll have that.
Coming.
But you can get her.
Okay, yeah.
Perfect. So bear with us, you'll all get to, we'll do this with everybody. Stephanie, why don't you stand in the middle?
Okay. Hold on to the chair.
And
Okay. I'm sorry.
Mike, why don't you stand next to Bill? And you gotta get in super tight. We want everybody to pretend you like each other. Okay, maybe not that much, just.
You don't want to get in every time. Look at me first before you look at Raquel. And 3, 2, 1. Thank you. Thank you so much. This is for me. And then you. Yay!
Board, you get to just stay here, just we get to do this several more times.
Thank you. And thank you
All right.
very much.
Okay, Fallbrook Senior Citizen Club, also known as the Fallbrook Senior Center. I know we've got a couple of folks here. So we've got Susie and her board members. All right, so if I can just have you tilt sideways, we'll have you two fit into the middle. Do you wanna?
No.
Okay. I'm gonna have you guys staggered tightly together as well. Gotta get all the way in, Jack. Oh, you don't get your chin. Yes. Focus. We got everybody?
Good. In 3, 2, 1, smile. Good.
All right. So Boys and Girls Club, I know,
Get everyone in line.
yep, we'll have you guys come on up. So in case you're wondering, there's multiple grants for many of these agencies. The check just shows the total amount you're getting instead of doing 4 to however many. That way you could move this along a little faster. Because I knew you'd all hate that so much.
Yes, right now,
Notice we put people with good handwriting to make the check. Yeah. On.
Did you want me to start writing it? No.
Everybody got it?
Good, go. Okay. Okay, and 3, 2, 1, smile. Yeah. What is it called? Maybe help. Sorry, Fallbrook family health.
Yeah, it's right here. Kim. What's the next thing?
It's called.
That's when you're doing?
Yeah, after that.
Oh. That is, yeah.
Yeah, I think the other ones might be that kind of done. I think that.
Can't see on this.
Yeah, right here we go. Fallbrook Family Health Center. But Judith.
So community health system.
My
Middle. So it says community health systems, those of you who aren't familiar, this is also known as our Fallbrook Family Health Center, and that's our local name. All right.
Mike, can you, Jen?
Yeah.
Thank you. 2, 1, smile. Then look at the Thank you. Thank you.
No. Well, it's also not on that.
Pantry.
We're excited to have it.
Pantry. We're gonna have you in middle. Here she comes. All right, let's go. We're gonna go. 3, 2, 1, smile. You're good. Take your time. Take your time.
Kind of like, you know.
Foundation senior care. Oh. Have you? Yeah.
I know, like all
3, 2, 1, smile. Hold the pose. But why do we keep doing that? And we are good. Thank you.
So Gail, we're good Friday, 9:45.
Yeah.
Let me see, several. Okay. It's not an extensive, let me pull on here real quick. So we're.
And I think Michelle. Okay. Next up is going to be Michelle.
I knew that was happening. It's not my birthday, you good with it? You want to be.
Yeah.
Mike, you too. Switch in a lot more. Right.
One. Smiling.
Okay, hold on, keep smiling. Scan your phone.
Fallbrook Family Counseling is up next. Hello. Yes, I can.
Okay. Yeah. All right, that was pretty painless. This team is on. You may all assume you're done giving out checks.
That was fun.
That's part of the job.
Thanks, you guys, for so appreciated. See you next All right. Absolutely.
Yeah. Some of it's already, yeah.
I'll give just about a minute to settle in and then we'll get back started. So, we'll move on to, reports. The first thing we have is a report from the Finance Committee. Director Brown.
Yeah, that's. We are being the treasures. Number 1. I didn't original part of it. This is important. All right, check.
It is kind of important that we fund. Yeah.
Okay, the finance committee meeting report, every month, hey, balance sheet comparison, I made. Equity. $12,217,966. For April, $12,445,000. Reflects a decrease of $247,860. Report number two, income statement. Only net income to the pay was negative $378,706 due to large part of the paying up. Report number three, profit loss actual versus the budget. Based upon the new budget, this forward version of the net income by $100,000. Report number four, the annual budget. 2022. No changes to this. Report number five. They posted $0 for earnings. The cost value is $3,957. The fair market value $3,363,207. Performance rate number 8 was 2.9. Report number 6, account treasurer. The cost basis for this account is $5,330,900. The district earned $17,000 every within this one. And the unrealized loss of $29,000. Bringing the portfolio was owned by $667,737. This is the 1-year deal with the fund, where these funds are allocated to so the district agreed to tax apportionment at $14,737. Report number 8. This details the operating accounts deposits and disbursements for the district. The committee reviewed its reports and statements for its discussion. Report number 9. The lease statement. Its report shows charge of previous credit card. Also, the activity on the charge card. Report number 10. Community investment fund. This report shows utilized funds invested in real estate primarily for the redevelopment of the wellness. Including maintenance, repairs, permits, and consultants. For the fourth quarter, it's $34,000. Disclosure investments of the district investment funds. The balances of the district investment accounts of the district ability to meet its expenditure requirements for the next 18 months. So, as side notes, part of the discussion in this next fiscal period, has many changes to the finance committee report. Some of the items we've got done. Staff. Preparations are already in place to start the annual CPA audit complete and first transaction with the class investment account. last item, was request to increase the lease statements. Count limit from 6,000. Maybe.
Is that H4?
No, it'd be for the total account.
Okay.
There's one other activity.
If it's fine with the committee, just doing it, that's,
There,
yeah, yeah, anything like that, I mean, at the committee level, you guys will think, you know, I think that there's some limits in place or whatever, but whatever.
that's all the things that we have.
And just Bill, to your point, the last resolution that we changed and sent to Bob allowed for that change to be done, but it's still best practice for us to bring it to committee and then at least bring it for discussion in committee. I will let you know that that's the process.
Understood. Thank you, I appreciate it.
Yeah. And it's a final deciding. It's a cosmetic kind of thing. That was to the treasurer. I'm recommending that we start referring to the budget, the rest of the budget, because it has so many big allocations. It is truly an operating. Travel by this period. So I'm going to propose that.
I will start practicing.
Sir, Joe Bush.
Yeah, just as a comment on investments, there's a health district and with the TSP going on, there's certain looking at investments. Anyway, the TSP and do your investments, are they involved in alcohol and tobacco? If that those two things and maybe some other things too, kind of go against the health district. We try to stay clear of that, even though it's not profitable. It's very profitable to invest in alcohol, tobacco, firearms. We have a considerable amount of portfolio invested in tobacco, and alcohol.
In my knowledge, our investments have been really involved in those accounts that other districts that are like us. Are invested. Same with sound and culture.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, because that's becoming more and more a big issue, especially with the savings plan. For a lot of government employees are very unhappy because they're not going to be making as much money, but they're withdrawing from alcohol. Thank you very much.
Any board questions on the treasurer's report? Do we need to do anything about H4 here? No, good to go, huh? Okay. Well, thanks, Director Brown. I appreciate that. Moving forward to facilities committee.
Thank you so much. Barbara and I met. We got a preview of the site logic and we're very interested and forwarded this item to our board colleagues. We also got updates on the various site efforts here, and all of the approved items from the board have been completed, with the exception of the House of Wellness. We are awaiting architectural information on what it will cost to make that building fully ADA compliant. So we're looking forward to that very much. I think you saw the elderly couple who were here. That's Michelle's mom and dad. And it's so great to have them here and have that house as a place where Michelle's legacy lives for all of our community members who need that help. So I think that's it for our, okay, so that's our report.
Anything from the board? Just a quick question. What do we know what the limit is as far as what the facilities committee can approve? Just at the committee level as far as expenses?
as I recall, it's set at 20,000, 25 is our bid limit,
Okay,
but I recall it's set at 20.
Okay.
It's still been our general to bring things forward to the board for anything that's unusual or a high enough expense.
understood. I would just kind of remind you guys of that. I mean, I think in the past, when we've had obvious things that needed to get done, that could kind of speed things along, and if it was under that limit, I think that's, a good way of getting things done a little bit quicker or whatever, if it's, it's kind of set up like that. So just as a reminder, like it said like that, fully trust your judgment on that or whatever. If anything comes up, you guys decide to do it that level, at my full support.
Thank you. Appreciate the trust.
Absolutely.
I trust each other here.
Absolutely. Next we have strategic planning committee. We didn't really have a meeting last month. We met with the youth sports groups regarding grant policy that we'll have coming forward here later today. Basically just brainstormed with one of the recipients and kind of talked about some of the challenges that they have, kind of learned a little bit more about how we can best design the application process and how the reporting can be best done from their end and from our perspective, what sort of reporting that we need and what sort of uses the money can be spent on. So that's basically what we discussed. I'm sure that there'll be some more in the discussion item as far as the actual policy. So I'll just kind of leave it at that. That's it for strategic planning. Next we have governmental and public engagement. Director Stansett.
So we had a relatively small meeting last month talking about a number of things. I'm encouraged by Teresa's report that we're getting that shows the continuous growth and engagement we're getting with the public. Events like tonight are going to help really expand and accelerate those types of things and the visibility of what is actually happening. There'll be much more awareness out there, which helps us all. We're also in the process of working and updating our mission and vision statement for the district. We're very close to finalizing that, so that's kind of dovetailed into the strategic planning process that will help drive the operational plan. So there's a lot of good discussion, good work going on, tying this all together, reflecting the updated way that we work. So I'm encouraged by that. We'll continue.
So, any questions on that? Next we have. Yeah, sorry, I think we're under this header here.
Yep. Yes, I do. So we're continuing to stay busy at the Community Health and Wellness Center over summer. We had in June 93 events happen. 56 public and 27 private. The ones that were really really beneficial was our Narcan 101 workshop. So we trained on how to administer Narcan and overview of what that looks like. We also started so the pressure. So if someone was unresponsive to Narcan, that would be first. So we did that with our partner on point. We had over 40 a lot of organizations. So what we will do through our partner on point, we will continue to provide Narcan to organizations, some of the other nonprofits in town that weekly have some of the organizations training, putting ongoing relationships to get into supply. So that was really great. So that was fun, so yeah, still funded. We also had other support and information regarding so that was the foundation for student care and healthcare on property. There was about 60 people in attendance, and it was down factor by the time. So that was great to be able to help support that. On July, it's summer, but it's 5 events. Some of the highlights are, Senator Brian Jones offering an $8 price tag workshop. Which will allow people to process. We're having sort of excited for Spanish, Spanish version of mental health first aid here this weekend. So we work very hard in that. This month is social wellness month, so in honor of that, our wellness is going to take social health team. We have a workshop on Thursday, we really working on our PR and full safety program that we do in connection with fire. So you may have seen some of these signs around town in terms of marketing joining the Asian Market ALS school. So we're doing some good and then we do have a look at this website to provide the one person to have if it's over 1 minute time on the website, let me talk. That really good the website as well as the first month we had it that we're going to be open to social media. So that's very positive. And you got a chance to Jasmine, we had that tonight. She's doing an fantastic job. The transfer of duties from many of the communities to a Jasmine. She's already, taking on the that is really wonderful. So we had I'm doing the third next time. Only thing I would follow this question there was a research on our audience and Fallbrook, so they're all responsible and right. So we can also see how between our proceeds and that's like
Questions, Director Jeffries?
Hello, Teresa down there.
yeah.
We're disembodied voices right now. I noticed there's a youth health fair on September 30th.
Yeah.
Could you tell us a little bit about what that is going to look like?
Yeah, they they're calling it the Eye on Health Festival. So, and it's inspired to the Lions Club. They are going to be offering free eye exams and glasses for families. In addition, there's going to be several other service providers. Like that, there's going to be vaccinations, dental screenings. In addition, we're going to have STEM zone. We're going to have some entertainment. We're going to have an art zone. We're going to have some other activities for gathering in resources as well. Some screening centers, that are in town. Other things that would be of value, but we don't know that. So like run the nine,
Thank you.
Any other questions for the board?
Get some sleep.
Yeah, just for me, I appreciate the report. It's great to see the continued success over here at this facility. I really think that staff's doing a great job of putting programs together and getting people out. I would definitely agree. I appreciate the posts and some of the social media stuff that Jasmine's been doing. I definitely noticed, some of the posts and some of that stuff going on. Would just thank Director Stanisek and Rachel for their recommendation of bringing somebody on in-house. I mean, I think that it's a good opportunity for us, and I'm definitely looking forward to seeing that event. Was it September 30th? Is that what it is? Yeah. Okay. I'll definitely try to come out for that, or, you know, like a fun event looking forward to. Awesome, the CEO's report, Rachel.
All right, this time I'm gonna try not to repeat everything that everybody else just said. So for facility updates, I met a new entity that may be able to help us with some of the ADA plans and housing wellness. So I'll be doing some research on that, bringing that forward to the facilities in the next month or two. Still awaiting more information on the communications tower. After I wrote this, they called me, so we're doing a site walk on Friday with them to get a little more information on the engineering of what that communications tower could look like. Again, still reviewing. Yeah,
Second, look to the solar activity.
No.
That's all separate.
it would all be in a completely separate area. Still working, yeah, please stop, because I was just on the list, right? Still reviewing details with Gary West case, regarding, nailing down what services they're gonna guarantee to bring. They have some folks who are out on vacation, so it looks like a late August meeting, and then we'll reschedule that site visit to their main location, so that hasn't been forgotten, we're just trying to get it. A new conversation that's been brought back up is about the transportation loop. And we started this conversation pre-COVID. I met with the superintendent for Fallbrook High School, Vallecito School District. Bonsall was unable to attend, but he's part of the conversation. And then Brian, who's the center director for Palomar College's extension here. And the idea is if our entities could all join together, we could then work with North County Transit and or Sandag to seek funding to develop that eastern corridor. So the idea would be a fixed schedule, small, probably not a bus, but a passenger van style transportation that would link the two high schools, Bonsall and Fallbrook, over to the college, up to probably Vallecito's school, because that is the hub for Rainbow. Come over here to the wellness center, and then be able to rejoin the bus line that is right over by the. By being able to create that, we know that we can link a lot more of our community. One of the challenges that both the high school districts are indicating is that not only do they have students who want to go to Palomar College and take some classes, but they have students who have matriculated who are not able to access transportation to those programs. So we're looking to see what sort of program all of us as an entity can put together to make a recommendation and request to the county to see if there can be some transportation scholarships. One of the potentials, going back to our infrastructure here, is if we can get electric van, we can charge through our site here and or the high school, and that way that van is also neutral on the carbon emissions, which is a big conversation for the county. So that conversation has started. It will be a slow going, but I wanted to just bring that forward that it's been brought back to life. It's too early yet. I did have a brief conversation with Monty, who works out of Desmond's office, and just let her know we were going to bring this back to their revitalization committee. And obviously they said, well, let us know how we can support, but until we know how they can support it, I'm going to go past. Has officially retired. I'm a little sad, not gonna lie. His services with North County Fire and his partnership with the health district have been invaluable. He's been a true friend to me for many years, ever since my days at the county. So I will miss him. So now I will have to start texting Brian and Dylan incessantly. So we'll be getting more information from Brian. He already knows. He's a good guy. He's not Kevin. Nobody's Kevin. So we wish Kevin well, and we don't need to feel sorry for him because he's going to be having more fun than all of us. Regarding the Foundation for Senior Care, Patty Sargent, the executive director, has left the agency. She is moving on to the east where she'll be closer with family. So this is a joyful party. So right now they are still looking for a successor, as I recall. But we wish Patty the best. Of course, I'll stay in touch with Dale and Perla, who's at the foundation, offering support to them as we can. So just wanted to keep you abreast of what's happening with our grantees as well. Administrative processes, as our new treasurer has said, the audit has gone. It will not be late this year by any means. Judith has already submitted a number of files for the auditor. They'll be on site the 24th, Monday the 24th. Susan will be on site as well. I anticipate that this audit will go very quickly, very soon. That said, it's also time to start writing the annual report again. So I'll begin drafting out that report in the upcoming month. Once we have our final year-end financials, which is usually the September meeting, I hope to be able to plug that in and have the rest of the report finished by October. Ongoing grant protocols and procedures, we're going to talk about that for review. But I'm going to continue to bring to strategic planning the conversation regarding grant to revenue proportions so that we can have an understanding of what the board's expectation of our revenue to grant will be. Expectations of service provision, that's still part of the conversation. And then nailing down a little bit more what some of our regular partnered programming grants to MOUs may look like. That's including some of those conversations around shelf place, non-market counseling, senior care. Board education and conferences. This is an education year. So I'm very excited that at the CSDA annual meeting, everybody but Barbara is going this year. Barbara, I'm gonna get you as soon as we're done with that cat. Then we'll get, because I know you'll have a minute. So that will be in August in Monterey. That's an exceptional conference for newer board members. So it'll be incredibly helpful for Mike and for Terry. The leadership, the training and experience to get through CSBA is phenomenal. That will also be good for Bill as this is his first year as chair. So each conference really brings a wealth of best practices. So I'm excited that the district will be represented at both conferences this year. For the September ACHD meeting, that would be Bill and Judith, Teresa, Raquel, and myself. That will pretty much necessitate no September board meeting because there won't be anybody here to run it. Y'all can run it without Bill and the rest of us, but I don't recommend it. So we'll talk to the chair, and I'm pretty sure he's gonna let us. Yeah.
All right.
All right,
Shouldn't
Shane.
that say, so the scholarship will make one registration fee free? Why is it me?
Because you hadn't been to this one and you were the last registration I put in, so I just gave you.
Hey, I just want you all to
Just
know,
singling it out.
I did not ask.
Listen, it is my job to save the district money. So
Yes.
I can apply for a scholarship.
I can appreciate that.
And then yeah, so I'll be employees in August from the 11th to the 21st. I'll be about 130 feet underwater in this giant blue hole. So I will not be responding to emails, texts, voicemails, or anything. The only thing I'm gonna be talking to are some sharks. So in the meantime, that's my report.
So, Ron, do we want to talk about any details as part of the CSBA meeting?
So
What
really,
hotel it is, which is,
so for CSDA in Monterey, the Portola and the Marriott are literally both are adjacent to the conference center. It's just not that big. So I'll follow up with you on offline if you haven't gotten that confirmation. Yeah.
I think I did.
Perfect. Yeah, they're pretty much the same. They give the CSPA rate at both hotels, so it ends up being that.
Just as a recommendation, I went, probably 4 years ago, it was that Portola, it was definitely really nice. I didn't really see the other one, but the Portola is right there, and it was a really nice facility. It was under construction. They're doing some remodeling when I went, so, some of the areas were a little rough, but, I would definitely recommend that one. That's definitely what I'm saying. And they offer you fresh baked cookies when you check in. So just another bonus.
Priorities.
Yeah.
Really, the only thing of note, because all of you, essentially many of you will be there. What is important, Jeff will back me up on this. You are welcome to learn and learn and learn, but don't talk different business. Please be mindful of the Brown Act. So if we all happen to congregate, we can happily talk about my neighbor.
Okay.
Yes.
Very much.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you for that report. I appreciate a lot of good info. Next we have, the general counsel report, Jeff.
Thank you, Bill. I will say though, that no, they do have Wi-Fi in Belize, so.
Must not last Hazel.
Turner in.
So, I know legislatures in set, there's getting ready to go on vacation. We'll be back on it, so things are kind of quiet.
Awesome. Thank you. Well, that's all the reports we have. We'll move forward with discussion and possible action items here.
One last question.
Yeah, sure.
With regards to we're still on track to close out and on next year, feedback from this council.
No, they're very cooperative. We put the 100,000. It's committed, so hopefully. It doesn't flood or something, whatever, but if it doesn't, we have a pretty good chance.
I'm assuming it's sort of located in this.
Well, I would ask, that's hard to say, I don't know how.
There's a lot of cars in the park. I will tell you, they just completed some construction that I'm sure had to do with the pavement of the water runoff along the side of the building. They spent an extensive amount of time trenching and dredging around the building, to put a water soluble membrane, water repellent membrane around the side of the building. Again, not really our place to ask beyond that, but we see a lot of cars in the park.
Well, no, that's encouraging, it's investing money in the properties to try to alleviate that issue. That was a superior issue. Hopefully it's gonna be successful.
Awesome. Well, that's good to hear. I'm glad we're in a good position, as far as that goes, as far as getting additional money. I think that, with the agreement as it stands, I mean, I think we're in a good position. So I appreciate that, Jeff. Anything else from Jeff or everyone? No? We'll move to each one. So we talked about earlier the youth fitness grants and the policy we're bringing forward. So Rachel, sure.
The policy is really nothing you haven't seen before. We just restructured it so that you got the community health contract information and then the youth fitness grants. Really what's new of note is just putting in the application window and the same thing so that years are processed with community health contracts. We will open that window the first Monday after the board meeting. So that would be next week. we, presuming everyone approves policy questions today, Bill and I have obviously already worked on some of this. So the policy really just has to be voted in so that we have updated information. Otherwise, it hasn't changed. Same requirements, they must be a nonprofit, they must submit a impact report, all of that. We had budgeted for this first year $25,000 total. The only thing that we don't have it as a policy, but I think for a practice conversation to finalize. I know Bill and I talked about the fact that if we have one entity that applies, for example, there was not likely an expectation to give them all $25,000, but that we would look at what their request was and the board would decide how much they wanted to put. Much like you do with community health contracts, so you don't see anything specific in policy, just like you don't see any. So again, making sure those two hear each other. So we should probably vote to approve that policy.
Understood. Do we have any public comments on this item? No. Any comments from the board or a motion to approve the policy?
I'll move for discussion.
Fair. Can I have a second? Fair. Discussion.
I just want to thank you and Rachel and maybe other folks were involved, but the fact that you talked to the end user to find out what it should look like to fill their needs so that we can have a connection with them. I just want to thank you for doing that. So often we get carried away, not us, but in general, when we build something and it's not right, but we are so involved in youth sports. I know that whatever has been put into this, which is quite a lot, will really serve this new program well.
Appreciate that.
I agree with that. It's driving that. And I also like the fact there's a lot of consistency between the two programs.
Yes.
So they're not inconsistent in any way. Same process, same way to go after it. So that's important.
Yeah, I think one of the big things that we had to do in putting all this together was to talk to the grant recipients and tell them, hey, this is what sort of reporting we're going to need, and this is how we can stay in compliance. So this is basically a pilot program. We're looking at see what sort of results that we can get out of it. The best way that we can get good results is good reporting and good tracking the money. So I agree. I think it'd be a good deal, and I would agree with what Rachel said as far as hopefully get the applications in, bring them in. We can look at them at the board meeting, and then we can approve amounts, as we see fit, within that budget. And then hopefully we can get some good data from them, and then we can kind of figure out what sort of benefit the program gives us. So that's just my 2 cents. So, any other discussion? We can have a vote.
Director Lewis,
Aye.
Director Morales. Aye. Director Jeffrey. Aye. Director Stanica.
Aye.
Director Pratt. Thank you.
And then I'll just keep going because this has to do with it. If this is more for your reference only, you don't really have to take any action on it. The grant questions, again, the same clients questions that you see in community health contract, nonprofit, report their financials. It'll be a much shorter application. Obviously, they don't have to explain how they impact social determinants of health. They don't have to explain a statement of need that is inherent in the grant program itself. But you'll see the same expectations of acknowledgement of funding. Their reporting really has more to do with helping to gather information from the recipients. So the folks who are actually using the programs, again, not that simple. So that was in there primarily just for their information. They're allowed to take anything unless anyone has questions about the application or questions. So otherwise it's ready to roll out.
Anything from the board?
They have the same level of marketing cooperating. part of the grant process.
Yeah,
So, yeah,
it probably
it's a different
won't,
audience.
yeah, they probably won't be able to do quite as much because they're all volunteer-based organizations. But there
They
is an
normally have some sort of challenge that goes over.
absolutely.
I would just add to that, it seems like a lot of groups have come to us looking for support in that sort of area, like co-marketing or helping with them. So any sort of, cross-promotional stuff, like I say, it's probably a different demographic that we normally get, and it's a good way to kind of expand our reach and see, what else is out
See the program
for sure. So anything else on that? Good. Any public comments on that? I don't know if I need that to go there now. Okay, so the last thing that we have is just the letter of agreement with Site Logic. I'll give the board a minute to just kind of just bring that back up and take a look. Just real quick, Jeff, I don't know if you had a chance to look over the contract.
Yeah, I did, I always are suspicious about anything that's too big to be true. This is one of those things that I think is worth a, range, take a thorough look at this. It really looks like there's a lot.
I would say, in our conversation with. What I appreciated was this really clear delineation of the scope of services, even for this first step. I found that very informing. I think it helps us understand this is one step. We'll take another step if we want to. And I think it's a really positive, hopeful way to approach our next big project.
So would we be expecting the facilities to be really probably more price?
Well, I think once we come back with the estimates, I think at that point, we just go to public bid. I mean, there are projects that are big enough and we're gonna have to put it out to bid and go through that whole process.
Yeah, we may not.
may not.
Yes, that's my second question. We just need.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll let you address it. Yeah, I'll be more than happy to answer. So again, our goal is to meet that economic criteria. Being that being compliant with the government code. So getting the government code that was enacted in the 80s that allows government agencies to work with organizations like myself on best value. And on an energy water contract, as long as that contract I bring to the table, at least satisfies cash neutrality.
Understood. So no
These are all
public bidding process, prevailing wage, any of that.
So we some local labor, workforce development, and there's certain bosses with federal money, like in ARPA, we personally did our bidding process with certain partners, looked at certain needs. So it depends on where some maybe the seed money comes from, there could be certain bosses. We're gonna focus on that, but right now, all the procurement and all contracting is compliant with the government code of the state of California.
We'll look at that. I can't imagine they're not gonna get prevailing wage.
Oh, yeah, everything prevailing wage,
We'll look at that carefully. It's been a little bit.
Okay. Is this the government code that's specifically written regarding like solar type facilities?
Yeah, I mean, it was for, it's a specific provision in government, police, it's been around for a while, but it's for energy efficient projects like this, so they foresaw and those things. So I think it's something worth exploring and could be a real given the situation with finances with the federal government now doling out all this money and not being able to see it.
Yeah.
So site logic, whether or not we assuming to go forward. And carbonize the solar system, you know, it will not be active as a general contractor. We will.
So it's the design build.
Design build, so this phase, the partner agreement for us to design it, make sure we're compliant with the government code. Making sure it's structural and everything that we're gonna attempt to look at is there. In the grants and incentives, we can find out how to apply for those. And then, we'll bring together an implementation agreement, design to agreement, that's the next stage of the public hearing, and then we'd like to build.
Yeah.
And again, human services, so we work close to what would be one on our side, that's not going to be like that. But since our standard bread and butter, we might ask that, you know, we've already go to, an agreement with a breakage fee. I know it won't hurt our feelings to maybe allow the rate. So he sets in there on, some of the ADA at the building next door. So again, we're a general contractor here on your needs, nothing else. And that's what the general manager and city managers and county CEOs see that, wow, with that government code, this is a strategic contract to get things done. Yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely a value in us being able to design, build, and ensure that we're still.
And it's based off best value. Yeah. It was more, and no, it wasn't solar was around the 80s, but solar's been a big push for the government towards this contracting, because if you put out a bid for solar, you might get 30 bids, and you're gonna go with the lowest, and now you're gonna have to change orders. We're gonna come in, spend our time, really got the project, staff, facilities, things like that. Just keep building out the program for him. What the board would have an appetite for, but again, let's also want to go.
It's based on the sizing I see here, there's carports, 25 kilowatts, potential at almost 50 kilowatts. Is the scope of this to be neutral? In other words, covering all of the power requirements, or are we looking at a certain threshold on them? I'm just a little confused about what's actually the scope of this thing. As far as going forward, we don't know yet.
Great question. There are two preliminary sizes that we've scoped just based off the last 12 months of electric utility data. So we've only received electricity, of course, we'd like to dive into water and gas as well. We know that's the size for this area, that would be about the generation, but now we have to start taking into consideration as the community gets start driving more electric vehicles. So those mandates, now you're increasing loads, so as the size go up. We don't want to treat this as a school district, well, let's flood the entire parking lot. We were always about an organization of let's reduce the demand side on the property first, size that is so around it. So we're going to take that approach still, but now we also have the factor of if you have two well-speed more charging stations, and they're running 5 hours out of 10 hours of the campus being open. Not only are you having these loads, but there's also to be a potential revenue play. So now we're there's so many moving parts that I have a whole army behind me of the brains that are going to put it together. Okay.
Can I have a motion to approve that agreement? I'll make that motion second. Okay, any public comments? We have none, we'll go ahead and go to a vote then.
I'm sorry, who was the second? I was the motioner and I didn't second it.
Okay, so Jennifer, we have you as first and Barry as second. Yes.
No, we don't. For the e-motion.
Aye.
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 Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, appreciate it.
You're you in Monterey. That's fine.
Thanks.
Good job.
Thanks for hanging.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming out.
Good evening.
Awesome.
Thanks, Larry.
Yeah, no, I think that's it. It's a good value for us for sure. Looking forward to seeing something over there. Okay, so we're done with the discussion of possible action items. Is there any other board comments or items for subsequent meetings? Anything? No, seeing none. I don't have anything. I just wanted to thank the staff again for putting together a great meeting. It was really exciting to see all the cars when I pulled up, like all the people here, you know, like and some of the good stuff that we do here as a board and as a staff. So really appreciate all the hard work. It's obvious that you guys put a lot of hard work into that, and it went really well. So thank you very much, and looking forward to seeing all the social media posts and hopefully some of the grant partners putting all theirs out there as well. So good deal. Thanks a lot. I appreciate that. Other than that, we have some calendar items that are coming up. They're right there if you guys would like to take a look. We'd certainly love to have you guys come out to any of our events. I would also mention on the website the calendar for this wellness facility. There's tons of good stuff happening over here. So I would just kind of keep up on that calendar because there's constantly new programs coming in. And we'd love to see you guys come out. So thanks a lot for our grant partners coming out. It's great to see you guys. And that's about it. We'll join the meeting.
And then we need to move through the next.
Oh, understood.
You thought you were off the hook, but you're not off the hook.
I don't have a copy of the agenda here, so do we need to do a roll call? Okay. Thank you.
Director Leach,
Here.
Director Bronze. Here. Director Joe. Here. Director Stanton.
Present.
Director Brown.
Present.
Switching it up, so we have a quorum. I'll go ahead and hold off on the pledge since we already did it. Can I have an approval of the agenda? Second?
I'll second it.
Any discussion? Okay, seeing none?
Director Leach.
Aye.
Director Brown.
Aye.
Director Stanton.
Aye.
Director Jeffrey. Aye. Director Bronze. Aye.
Can I, do we have any public comments? Seeing none, anybody on the Zoom or online now? We see none, we'll go ahead and move on. We just have, one item here, it's just a discussion item, for Rachel to update us on the nonprofit status. How's it all going, Rachel?
It's in the queue
Okay,
at the federal government.
awesome.
That's my
So,
report.
what,
See you next year.
2-3 days and we'll be done, or?
Probably not. So I think we will be lucky if we see it by the end of this calendar year.
Okay.
I go on to their IRS site to check, and it is pretty much below the box that says, essentially, hold on, we're still processing stuff in 2021.
Wow, yeah.
Now, a lot of that also has to do with how they're processing 990s and the various things. The application shouldn't take as long as that. It's impossible to know. You cannot like call them and but I can't imagine that there's going to be any challenge to it. It's very straightforward application. But it has been submitted, and we're just pending the IRS final approval.
Understood. Do we have any questions on that or that process from any of the board members? No. I appreciate the update. You know, it's good to hear that you guys were able to put in the application at least and, you know, kind of take the first step. I think that some of the ideas about the foundation and kind of what we could do with that are definitely kind of more far out sort of ideas and whatnot. You know, not really, you know, the next year or two, but, you know, I definitely think that it's something that we should set up so that, you know, in the future, when we want to do more with that, we have the ability to, because like I said, when it's in the government's hands, who knows, right? I mean, you know, I think the IRS definitely prioritizes getting their money regardless, instead of processing, you know, nonprofit applications. So. Let us know, and we'll kind of go from there.
The only thing I would say is that, because I don't anticipate any feedback on this anytime soon, we probably can set a meeting sometime in December.
Okay.
If for some reason I hear something has come forward I'll bring that to your attention, we can always call a meeting, if that works for you.
It works for me, it would just coincide with the board meeting for December.
Yeah,
Awesome.
same expectation is that we'll just follow the regular meeting, we'll update from this. If by chance it comes through early, then we can hold a special meeting for it and have any further discussion.
So session was written for
Yeah, and
we got it.
Right, yeah, once we get the tax designation letter, that 501 component has been done. But otherwise, we are literally just a point.
And there's nothing else we could do until, okay. Awesome, well, we could just go ahead and do that, we'll tentatively plan for that in December, and then, hopefully, we'll get a good positive update, it's all finished and ready to go. If not, we'll just keep waiting, right?
Yeah.
Around two.
I'd like to make the recommendation that we consider perhaps having a meeting in November instead of December, because December we do the change of guard and all new characters, and so we might want to close it out in November before we have to go through the end of the year, because everybody's position changes and
Yeah. Yeah, we can do it as either way, all of you continue to be the board of the foundation as well, so nothing significant changes.
okay, thank you.
Any board member comments or subsequent agenda items? I see one, I'll go ahead and adjourn the meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
one of my